Hi guys, welcome to another Pixel Gamer video, and as I promised, a weekly update and a weekly video. So, what to talk about this week? So it's been pretty mental, and we've had Xbox Scorpio specs finally have dropped and been revealed from Microsoft via Digital Foundry. So that was an exclusive that they had. The internet would like to think that Microsoft have paid them off, etc. But I thought I'd do a video on why this is signs that Microsoft have really learn from the mistakes. That 2013 launch of Xbox One is firmly behind them, and which it has been for a while. But I think the learnings were always going to be shown whenever they did something new and innovative with hardware. Innovative? That's not a word. So in terms of what we got with Xbox Scorpio, we've got pretty much a beast on our hands. So the 6 teraflops that was announced way back at E3 last year. We've got 6 teraflops. That's the kind of headline stat. So 6 teraflops, for those of you who don't know what a flop is, a teraflop is effectively a measure of computing power. And to put it, and I'm going to get this number completely wrong possibly, but I think the PlayStation Pro is around about 3.2 teraflops or 2.3. I can't remember. I think it's 3.2. I think the PS4 base or Xbox One base is about 2.3, but either way, 6 teraflops is a significant upgrade on the existing hardware across all platforms. So this is what Microsoft say will deliver true 4K gaming. So they're really going for 4K. I think Mark Penilo's wording on Major Nelson's podcast, which you can go and visit, he basically let out that one of the things that Microsoft are trying to achieve with this Project Scorpio is that they want to own 4K. Now, you don't see things like own 4K unless you're really putting some meat on the bones, and the specs here certainly show that they've got the capability to do it, and it looks like Microsoft have got the desire to do it as well, which is probably even more important. So 6 teraflops, true 4K gaming. It will have HDR as standard, and it will get a 4K UHD Blu-ray drive, which is pretty important and still beyond belief that Sony never did this. So 4K UHD Blu-ray drive. Why is that important? You might think, oh, that's not really that relevant, and I'm not really that fussed about watching 4Ks, but actually when we get into the realms of having true 4K gaming and 6 teraflop GPUs and all that horsepower for developers to make use of, there's a good chance that these 4K textures and assets are going to be quite massive in terms of file size on a disc. Now, Blu-ray disc can hold a lot more than a standard Blu-ray. 4K UHD Blu-ray, sorry, can hold a bit more than the standard Blu-ray disc. So that might become quite important when it comes to how many discs you want to be handling with games. And if you remember back to last gen when we had multiple discs for some games, that could become a thing as well. Unless obviously we make a full jump to digital, which in case we just need to have some bloody good broadband to download it. So outside of that, what are some of the other key specs that you need to know? Well, in terms of the CPU, now I'm no technophobe geek. I'm not going to go into all the detail of what this means. If you want to really get the detail, go to Digital Foundry. They're the best people to do this, which is why Microsoft have went to them. So there's no hearsay or debate around it any further. Just go to the best people for it, and they'll get the facts out. So 2.3 gigahertz on a custom CPU is pretty impressive as well. So that's highly clocked by the looks of it. It's custom, which means that it's really going to get the best out of the hardware. So first parties are really going to be able to utilise this probably a little bit better than third parties, certainly initially, which is a good thing. We've got a 1 terabyte hard drive storage. That's pretty much standard these days, isn't it? However, there is a couple of things you need to know about the hard drives and the way in which it takes information from wherever you're stored your games. So I'm going to get the technical terms totally wrong for this, but the throughput, the read-write effectively, so whenever you're playing a game, say The Witcher, I think was the example they showed, and you go through those busy areas and you see the cities and the streets pop up with textures, etc., you'll find that with the Scorpio, you should see less of that, if not none, because the machine is able to render and read the graphical textures from the hard drive a lot quicker, and to load up more available so that they're already there before you get to them on screen, which is pretty impressive. So that's quite a powerful thing. DDR5 RAM, which is good. That is what the PS4 had, PS4 Pro has, and the Xbox One didn't. It went for the older DDR RAM. In terms of how much of it do we have? Well, we've got 12 gigs. 8 gigs on a PS4 Pro. We have 12 on an Xbox Scorpio. That's almost a 50% increase. That's pretty impressive. So that's our DDR RAM. Excuse me. In terms of memory bandwidth, though, so what's really important is, yeah, you can have loads of RAM and you can chuck loads of memory and files into it, but actually how quick can you get it and how much of it can you get really will impact the performance of your games. So here's a real geeky stat for you. 326 gigabits of memory bandwidth on the Project Scorpio. Now that is absolutely enormous. That is huge. I think in comparison the PS4 is around about 200 and something, which even at that is really good. So 326 gigabits per second is a monster amount of memory bandwidth. There's even some other cool things as well that you might not know about Xbox Scorpio. So it has a thing in it called a vapor chamber. Now that's not some e-cigarette that we've got fancy thing be kicking about inside the box. What we've actually got here is a vapor chamber, which you would see on really high-end graphic cards. It's an advanced liquid cooling system. Now that's really important because one, there's two things here that it might indicate, and I'm probably going to go on a wee bit of a tangent, but one thing is that if they can get good liquid coolant like this that you see in really high-end graphic cards, it means that they can keep the form factor of the box fairly small. Now, we've had a little bit of a hint of what the form factor might be through some GIFs and some of the breakdown images, which you can see on Xbox website as well. One of the other interesting things about that is that we've heard that it will resemble some of the Xbox family in terms of consoles. So we might see a console that looks a little bit like the Xbox One S, which is a nice looking console. So vapor chamber cooling. Now the other flip side of that is that, as I said, it's on high-end graphics cards, so it might indicate that we're heading to a really high price point on the Xbox Project Scorpio, which I really hope isn't the case. I hope Microsoft have got the balls to maybe eat some money on this, or to put it out there at £400 at tops. But there's some other things. We're going to do a separate video actually of what they should do to really enforce Scorpio, and you can check that out. I'll link it down below. The Scorpio engine, as I've just mentioned all the details on, is the SoC, so system on chip is what they call it. That's the thing you've probably seen all the pictures from. It looks pretty cool. There's loads of different fans as well. There's weird engineering marvels going on in this machine to deliver compressed air, cooling the air with minimum noise. So it sounds like we're going to get a really quiet box, effectively. That's what we need to know from that, which is cool. And if you needed any proof that there's some smart-ass guys that work at Microsoft, then there's a guy that's called Hovis. Mr. Hovis. Not the guy who makes your bread. Yeah, Mr. Hovis has actually made a form of power, performance and tweaking that has resulted in a patented method called the Hovis method. Now, we probably don't care in the mainstream what that is, but effectively what that means is it can manage power consumption on a Scorpio. Now this thing's it's a complete beast from the spec, so it's really important that you can get the most performance out of it, but at the same time make sure that we're not running up our electric bills no end. So it uses this thing called a Hovis method, which is a brand new thing patented from Microsoft, which is all about how it delivers power to the box. It also means that every system is tuned exactly the same. Now that's different to all other console manufacturers at the moment, because whenever they come off the production line, you need a little bit of tweaking here and there to get them up to the performance standards that we want. We're talking tiny amounts, so don't go thinking your Xbox is underpowered compared to your mates. So that's the Scorpio specs. I am properly impressed. There is another thing that Digital Foundry released yesterday, where they talked about the AMD FreeSync is available now, which is all about how drop frames are handled or avoided in such case. So when you get some junky gameplay on screen, effectively you're looking for one frame to load up before the other one appears. If it doesn't load up fast enough, then you get a judder effectively. So what we'll see here is we'll see smoother frame rates, because FreeSync allows us to put those frames in order quicker, if that is in layman terms and accurate enough. So what you need to know about that is, though, unless you're playing on a PC monitor, you're not going to see any benefit to that at the moment. And that's across screen tearing as well as drop frames. The other thing is that Microsoft are looking to lead the way with TV manufacturers and make sure that actually this is a technology that's going to become part and parcel of TVs. So Microsoft leading the way on that front as well. So the good thing about Project Scorpio is, and the thing is, if it is going to hit a high price point, as I said earlier, then potentially you've got a box that's really future-proof, and I think that's the way to look at it. I don't want to be buying a console personally every single year, and I feel like we're getting to that point. these specs tell me that Microsoft are in it for the long game, and that is a really good thing from a consumer's point of view. But check out my next video. I'm going to talk to you about how Microsoft can do some things at E3 that I'd like them to see, and that are really going to push Scorpio forward. But that, guys, is our specs. Put some comments down below. Please make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel a lot. And let me know your thoughts on Project Scorpio. You're going to plan to pick one up on day one. What do you think the price is going to be? Are you happy with the specs? You bloody well should be, because it's a console, and look at the specs of it. It's ridiculous. But games obviously will be the make or break of this console, but that again is another video. So guys, thanks for watching. Again, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you again soon. Cheers.